Do we want to record right now?
Not yet, no. We're gonna want to pretty soon. Welcome all. We're gonna go ahead and get started as Chris continues to let folks in on the meeting. Few folks are still joining. We appreciate everybody being here. I see that some of you folks have entire offices on one computer, so I'm sure our meeting count here as far as number of participants is going to be a little off, but we seem to be doing all right for participation. The 27th edition of the guidelines is complete, being uploaded today. There is a version there. We've got a couple incorrect page numbers in the table of contents. We'll upload it again within the next 24 to 48 hours. But know that you can start reading over the material as you can. And we are going to go over everything you guys don't know. In other words, just the changes, because we want to make this a nice brief 1-hour meeting. That's informative. You can ask questions at the end if you don't mind. And also, if you don't mind, please mute yourselves on your end unless you want to say something, just in case you all have background noise or whatever that is going to prevent other folks from hearing. I appreciate that. So I'm going to call up the new guidelines here on our end at the ARC, at the BHA. I have Chris Howard, our admin. I have Dora Ritchie, she's in Covenants Compliance, and Kim Bandera, our ARC specialist, who you guys know from doing all your site management visits out there. And also final inspections. Kim also does Harbor and Middle Island technical reviews.
We need to share the screen first.
Oh,
So go back to Zoom and then go here. Share screen.
am I sharing this screen, guys? Are you seeing design guidelines on your screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so 27th edition guidelines, all good. And I am going to do a tour on the screen of the changes. You don't have to upload your own copy right now. You can do that after the meeting. You're going to see the changes I'm talking about on the screen in the Zoom meeting. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Chris Howard so that she can give you a tour of the new web page. It's the same old address, www.baldheadassociation.com. So you're searching the architectural review webpage in the same place. It looks different now because the guidelines are abbreviated to 78 pages. In order to do that, for much shorter reading for all of you, we took out all the appendices, the typologies. Those are all individual links. So now with everybody's typology, it's easy enough for you to go to the web page, click on the links that you are going to need, whether you're in Cape Fear Station, Ibis Roost, whatever the case may be. All that's there in links on the architectural review web page.
Alongside him to continue to talk about it, think about it. It's a huge difference. And it's with the next week of preparation and honestly these next couple of weeks are about is figuring out what that difference is.
I'm sorry. Could everybody mute, because I think we're listening to somebody else's meeting.
It's my bottom, I'm saying.
I can't tell who that is. I'm sorry.
Try to. It stopped.
Okay. All right. So Chris is going to go over the new webpage for you and give you a quick tour of the new webpage so that you folks all know where to find stuff. Thank you.
So the ARC documents, now we'll start with the design guidelines 27th edition, and anything now that before there was a lot of items that it tells you that you can go to see further information. All of those are linked in this actual design guidelines, but they're also located here, very easy for you to find. And one of the things that we've recently added is this BHA. Should I show the Dune Ridge map? 'Cause that's- Yeah, so a lot of times people have questions on whether I'm on or in front or in back of the Dune Ridge. We now have an actual map in there to show that, and it explains exactly where that is, and you'll be able to, this is very, you can zoom it in to make sure that you can actually see lot numbers and whatnot.
Chris McCall put that Dune Ridge map together for us. Thank you very much to the village for that. We appreciate it.
And then also, if you are working on a specific area, for instance, Cape Fear Station or one of the multifamilies, you will definitely want to know, be very familiar with where this covenants is. The covenants, if you look down here, this is important for everyone, whether you be a realtor, a builder, a contractor, because these are very important for your client to know where this is. So that is there, and we're going to go back to. And then also, if you scooch down here, you'll see we no longer have the PDF applications because we are no longer accepting PDF applications. All the applications that we're accepting are the online applications, and they're all right here. One of the things I wanted to show you is that under new construction, several of our architects and designers already have these checklists, but there are we have come up with checklists especially for new construction, so that if you have any doubt as to whether you're putting everything in the submittal that you need, there is a checklist where you can literally check it off to each one for yourself.
Chris, can you hear me?
I can.
This is Kevin Carpenter. Somebody has still got either their phone open or something, and their chatter is covering up a lot of what you're saying. It's hard to hear you because of the other people. I think it may be John's iPhone 6.
I just muted him.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Oh, I do also want to let you guys know that on the property owner's agreement where that has to be notarized, I actually just got my notarization ability. So I'm just waiting on my stamp to come in. So hopefully as of the first of the year, your clients, if they're on island, will be able to come in and have me notarize them, if that's helpful for you, getting those property owners agreements in. I also wanted to mention under, which Fran's getting ready to do the design guidelines, but I did want to mention this is something really important. The PDF is extremely searchable. If you are on a PC, it's Control F and you put a keyword in such as setback or Dune Ridge or something like that. And literally it'll take you to every place in the entire document where it might be. And on a Mac, it's Command F. So I think that that's really important too. I think that's everything I needed to go over.
Okay, good. All righty, I'm gonna get started real quick on the table of contents then. Let me get that back up for us, Chris. There you go. Okay. Gosh. Okay. I think that's in the best spot for you all to see. Okay, so table of contents is on page 2 of the new document. It's adjusted a bit, but your categories and your searches are going to be the same. So this is going to be pretty easy. You can click on any of these to take you to that page. So the review process begins on page 10. As I said, this is now a 78-page document, so it's going to be really easy to read over in a couple hours. All right, the review process page, basically you've got very much the same 3-step process. Drafts, as they were last year, are now required. And you've got your preliminary and final review stages. You're going to have red clouds, please, because what we'll do is we'll flip through what was your preliminary, now coming in as a final with the few changes the ARC required from your preliminary review. Those changes need to be red clouded so we can hone in really quickly on those and be accurate about what we're reviewing for that final. Okay. The steps in the new construction process, management process, are very much the same. You've got your 3 site visits, you've got your final review before your owners of record at that time can get their building deposit back. Builders, don't forget, if you transfer that property before your final and the check is released, that check is going to the current owner at the time. And I'm going to introduce Kim Bandera at this point to go ahead and talk about the process for the inspections. Can we unmute Kim? Did we mute Kim by
Yeah.
accident?
Oh, she's on.
No, I'm here.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, so for the final inspection, what we require is the builder and or homeowner send me a copy of the certificate of occupancy as well as the as-built survey and let me know that they're ready for their final inspection. One of the holdups has been landscaping. And we understand if it's not the right time to plant when you've gotten your CO, that might delay the process. But we need you to actually contact us and let us know that's where you are so that, it doesn't, 6 months later, like, hey, how come we don't have a final inspection on this? Yeah, we don't want to go after the homeowner saying you didn't request something. We just need you to reach out to us and let us know where things stand so that we can get this on our records so that we can begin the process. Once the final inspection takes place, unfortunately, there are usually changes made during construction that do not get ARC approval beforehand. And that can hold up the return of the deposit. So we are asking that, in the field, if you're making a change on something, fill out that minor change application so that we can get that in the process before the final inspection. Things that usually hold up the final inspection are grade level screenings that have been installed under unheated space without approval. Light fixtures have changed without approval. The electric meter wasn't located right. Trash enclosures aren't animal proof. On rare occasion, it's a paint change that didn't happen. Sometimes there have been doors, windows, and staircases rearranged. So the contractor knows when he's building something that was not on the approved drawing. So if the designers and the contractors can work together and get that submitted, it'd be greatly appreciated.
For all realtors on this call, please be aware what you need to be asking to help your clients the most, and everybody really, is have you had your final inspection yet? And have you received your deposit, your refundable deposit back? Because if they haven't received that refundable deposit back, chances are they've not been fully cleared. And your buyer may want to know that before the transfer of a deed. Go ahead, Kim. Anything else?
No, just a reminder that the deposit does go to the owner of record. So if the property does transfer, or the new owner is the one who will get the check when the check is cut. So you want to be aware of those dates and who's getting that deposit and, make arrangements for that in your, real estate transaction if that happens.
Okay. I'm going to go to page 18 Under requirements. Now, please be aware with our new online applications, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. With our new online applications, what they've done is they have put in a checklist at the top and the bottom of each application, each type of application, so that right in your place of filling out your application, you also have that list of requirements. It's going to help you forget less. We also have the draft requirements, preliminary requirements, final requirements, and all other types of applications in the guidelines. But no, your checklists are right on the application forms.
Just printable link below each one.
Oh, Dora says there's a printable link for checklists be
Yes.
at the bottom of each application,
At the bottom of each description.
at
So
the
right
bottom of
before-
each
yeah.
description. Okay,
For new construction.
all righty. I'm gonna go straight to, that, oh, I'm sorry, that was 18. Page 21. Okay.
What are you looking for?
I'm going to the new data block. And also, by the way, folks, the finance committee for the BHA, the ARC didn't even recommend it, but the finance committee for the BHA determined based on finances that the new construction application due with drafts is 4,000 now, not 3,700.
The data block examples on page 15, if you're looking for that. Yeah, you just do the new one.
There's the data block example. Okay, some of the guys who are a little bit newer here are having some difficulty knowing what goes in a data block. The data block's always required on a site plan. Okay, and we've got all our calculations in here. Sometimes, obviously, calculations for the 50% rule, the percentage of porches are going to be different for something on or in front of the dune ridge. And not required for what's behind Dune Ridge. But we have a data block example that has everything you can think of that needs to be in a data block in here so that you are comfortable with how to show it. You've actually got an example here in the guidelines. So please make sure those data blocks are complete. I have to kick a lot of stuff back because we don't have the right calculations done for applications. Compile PDF order. What I'm finding is that we're getting a lot of extraneous pages with some of the architects and designers. We may get plans for furniture placements, just a lot of extra sheets of stuff. Some of our applications are ranging 15 to 25 pages. We need the pages that are required for the Bald Head Association ARC, and that's really it. We don't have time to flip through a lot of extraneous pages looking for details, data, etc. We have on page 18 in the new document, a compiled PDF order.
For a draft.
So this is for a draft. Each one will have a compiled PDF order. Please limit the applications to the number of pages we need and the order that we need to find it in so we can get through your intake process quickly. Make sure you have all the components you'll need to get onto the technical review phase and onto the agenda. Okay, I'm going to move to page 19 because I need to remind you guys, it's a really simple thing, but a lot of people just forget this, I think. When we do your reviews, ARC reviews on your preliminaries, we'll sometimes kick back a list of 2 to 5 things, little stuff that you may need to just tweak a bit. Please red cloud that. so that we know that there aren't additional, more major changes on that that need another technical review. Always red cloud what you're changing when you turn something into the ARC. Also, folks, please remember when you do revisions, on your drawings, I need the new dates, revised dates on your drawings. Because sometimes we're getting, 3, 4, 5 submittals in from you guys. We end up with a lot of paper, a lot of PDFs, and we need stuff dated so we know that we're not wasting time on the wrong dated app, okay? All right, page 20, changes during new construction process. Kim Bandera went over this a bit. We are unfortunately experiencing some upset from members, builders who are investing, especially in spec homes. The reason is we're getting a lot of changes during construction that are not being approved during the construction process. When somebody wants to turn over a deed and get their place sold at the end of construction, lo and behold, we've got a bunch of things that were not approved on that house. So make sure the change requests come in the form of applications to the ARC and get approved during the construction process, not after it's installed. That's also violations, by the way. If you end up with installed changes that may or may not be approvable according to the guidelines, you may be transferring a house that's has a violation on it. And you don't want to do that. I know you don't. Okay, renovations and other requirements are all pages, start on page 20. Majors, minors, demolitions, paint. Folks, we have a lot of back and forth with people over paint applications. Just remember they need to come in complete. Leave yourself time to either get the actual chips dropped off or mailed, because we need actual chips for paint to even get on the agenda. They're so different on the screen. Here's your new construction fee sheet on page 24 of the new doc. So you see the only thing that's changed is the new construction review fee is $4,000 now instead of $3,700. That was BHA Finance Committee recommendation to the board. Everything else remained the same from last year. By the way, as I'm flipping through here, I'm thinking you're noticing that you've got a lot of blue text in here. These are actual links right to things like online application forms, etc. Rather than just referencing them, we can link them now for you. I'm gonna timelines. You guys know 24 months approvals are good for 24 months. After that, they need to resubmit. There are time limits for different projects, different applications that you have to start and complete in. So be aware of that. You don't want those job sites hanging out there forever. Things need to be cleaned up and put back. So I'm also going to turn this over to Dora Ritchie from Covenants Compliance. What we're running into a little more than we'd like to is that when you're done building a house and you get your certificate of occupancy, because there were changes made during construction and nobody wants to spend the time putting application in with the ARC to get those changes approved, the certificate of occupancy with a as-built survey and a request to Kim Bandera are not coming into the ARC 30 days from the date of certificate of occupancy, and they're never getting final inspections done. So we're going to have a chart now as of day 31. Those properties are going to move right over to compliance department, and the builders and owners will hear from Dora Ritchie in compliance. This is Dora.
Hi, everyone. Our three major issues that we tend to have for violations when it comes to any type of new construction is just one being a messy work site, having your stuff overflow out onto the streets, causing a lot of traffic issues, not having your silt or your sand fences installed, different things like that. Just what usually happens in that process is if Kim or I end up passing that area, or we have a neighbor complain or anything like that, we usually shoot you guys a courtesy email or phone call being like, hey, could you do something about this? The only time you're really gonna probably get a violation from us on that end is if you completely ignore us or just won't fix it. For the most part, you guys are doing pretty good with that. There's a few of you that need to start focusing a little more on the silt fences and stuff like that, but it's not as big of an issue as our final inspections. Our final inspections, as Fran has mentioned and Kim, they are necessary to be scheduled within 30 days of getting your CO. If not, you will receive a violation letter on day 31, giving you 15 days to reach out to Kim Van Dare about setting up a final inspection. If it's not done within those 15 days, you will be in a compliance hearing with our board of directors. And that can lead to all kinds of fun stuff like fines and basically stopping your process that you have going on. And we don't want to do that. We want things to go as quickly and smoothly as we possibly can. And then the last issue, which you guys have been doing amazing with lately, is the tree trimming violation. That's just basically you're given a certain amount of trees that you're allowed to take out for your construction. Sometimes people get a little too excited or there's miscommunication and more trees and vegetation are taken out than need to be. That's an immediate violation that goes to our compliance board. And that's when we start talking about doing some fining and mitigation with that. All three of these are violations that you can work through to not necessarily slow up any of the construction process, but you have to be willing to be communicative and work with us while we're trying to get through with this. And if you have questions, by all means, that's what we're here for. You can reach out to me via email or phone. Same with Kim, same with Fran and Chris. If there's something that you want to ask beforehand, or if you feel like you're already in deep and something happened, feel free to call. We can help. And
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All righty, I'm going to go on to page 26. Appealing a decision of the ARC. Sometimes you or your owner want to appeal a decision. So basically what you want to do is know that your steps for appeal are on page 26 now in the new document. They haven't changed. The steps are the same. An appeal, by the way, and a lot of your members and owners have difficulty realizing this, I think, but an appeal is not, can I get a different architectural viewpoint from the board of directors? They will refer that back to the ARC. The appeal was the process correct? Did the ARC do everything we were supposed to do in the process? And you guys have the right to question that and appeal that with the board. The first step is to ask for a decision review in the ARC. We'll relook at our decision. If for any reason the member is not satisfied with the results of the decision review, they can then appeal to the board for the next board meeting. They too have monthly meetings, folks, so it won't be that long till the next board meeting. I need that clicker. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go to page 28. Variances and violations. I know we say this every year, but please don't forget, variances are for hardships. What's happening with a lot of the new designers, I think we do need maybe a management of expectations for your client's benefit. So when they're requesting things that are not compliant with the guidelines and they want to request variances, if it's a hardship, by all means, put that hardship in a letter, put it in with your application, and let the ARC review that request for variance because of hardships. But you know, just manage those expectations that, yeah, they're not going to let you build a house higher than 35 foot from the virgin low point because you'll get a better view. That's not a hardship. It's not going to happen. So you may want to save your time and their aggravation by managing their expectations a little bit on the design end. Okay, moving into violations now. Dora Ritchie, our compliance agent, is going to let us know about what's going on in violations and basically how to avoid them.
Pretty much what I had said earlier, that we basically, when you end up getting a violation, reach out to me as soon as possible, and we can start working through that violation. One of the things that you want to keep into consideration when switching properties is that that violation follows the address, and so it will go to the homeowner. If you're in the process of constructing a new building and you sell it to a homeowner before having all of those violations taken care of, they are now the new homeowner's responsibilities, and that doesn't necessarily bode well for what you just sold them into, because it can go anywhere from just a simple violation with a small fine, or it can be something as big as you put the wrong windows in the house and they have to now be the one who's financially responsible to put the new windows in the house, which can be thousands and thousands of dollars. Same thing with the construction deposits. Just try to keep in mind that if you don't get that final inspection taken care of before switching hands, that construction deposit now gets sent to the new homeowner, which means you could be out of 10 grand if you're not careful. There's just a bunch of different things that can be extremely messy when changing hands. So my suggestion is to try to avoid the violations. If the violations come up, be extremely communicative with me, and we can try to figure out a way to get around them as fast as possible and to fix whatever's come up.
Okay, I'm going to remind you guys too. I know everybody's so busy. I sure appreciate that. But when you get the first, definitely by the second notice, or courtesy email from Dora, me, Kim, whomever, please respond to us, even if it's, I'm on vacation for 10 days, I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. Because what we need to do is notify you or the owner of record, whomever that is, that we're not hearing back and you could end up in violation. That just causes some bad feelings. So if you would please just, respond to us in a timely manner when we send you an email or notification.
And violations actually are important for realtors too, because if you're selling a property and you want to know if somebody is in violation on that property, we are available for you to call and say, hey, can you check to see if there's any violations on this property? So that's something very important that realtors should be keeping in mind for their clients.
Okay, overview and requirements. We didn't make a lot of changes to this section. If any, we may have made one little one, but in any event, overview and requirements is really important because, I'm hearing more and more often that folks don't know what Bulkhead Island coastal vernacular really is. And I understand why. A lot of you are basically coming from designing homes in other areas. And Bulkhead Island coastal vernacular is not necessarily Oak Island, Curry Beach, Figure Eight. It's different. So this overview page will really give you a good feel, I think, for shingle style coastal architecture. I'm going to move on to page 31, the 50% rule. The diagrams are the same. Basically, the rule is the same, folks, but we have reworded some of it because a lot of people were confused about this. I think for 20 years, maybe there wasn't so much confusion because 90% of the applications were coming from some of the guys who actually wrote this. So now it's a little tougher for the 90% who are designing out here for all the properties. And the application of the 50% rule is numbered differently. And basically it applies to everything in front of the dune ridge, and folks can ask for an exception if their FFE is 5 foot or less. And we think that's going to make things clearer, because one of the problems is folks have difficulty understanding, first of all, how to measure where to put that FFE. So your glossary is going to help. Your relationship to grade section of this document is going to help. I would think you will serve yourself well to reread all of that and then read the 50% rule again. I'm going to go to page 34 next. Oh, I see why. Okay, page 34, paint colors. Please be aware, folks, we're really not out to waste your time bringing us a lot of different paint chips and paint applications, etc. Cape Fear Station does have some different and specific paint color regulations. The body color must be earth tones everywhere, even in the areas that are not Cape Fear Station. We're getting a lot of, why am I having trouble with this? We're getting a lot of applications for white houses, and they're 99.9% of the time they're kicked back. White trim fine, white fences fine, body colors must be earth tones, and then your accent colors are usually more colorful, if you will. And I'm going to go to page 39. Driveways, just something to be aware of. You may know last year, maybe it was a year and a half ago, in any event, the village made a rule that pine straw is just prohibited. So don't use pine straw for anything but, say, don't use pine straw. Mulch is fine for like your beds around your trees and your plantings, but specific beds. It's not something to sort of spread all over the place. And what we want to do is let that understory recover after construction process. So we're not looking to create these well manicured mulched beds that everybody's weed whacking and keeping free of what we call understory here. And I'm going to go to Kim Bandera on lighting. Kim put a committee together for us. She worked with Chuck Deach. She worked with Mike Harriet. She worked with the Conservancy and really did a thorough job at looking at updating our lighting guidelines and making sure that we're still conserving everything we want to conserve here. So Kim, I'm gonna let you speak up on the lighting section, please.
Okay, thank you. The lighting main change is just reinforcing that the ocean facing housing, those light fixtures need to be turtle friendly compliant. The thing to be aware of is the term turtle friendly, night sky friendly are more marketing terms. So the requirements for the light bulbs, the fixtures, the shielding, that's what you still need to look at. In addition to what's in the guidelines, we do have another document that's extended guidelines, or I'm not sure exactly what we call it on the website. But that has links to fixtures which are approvable. They may not be approved in your specific location, but they are examples of things that have been approved in some locations on the island. So that gives you a little more selection than just the copper hoods with the jelly jar inserts. So we're trying to make it more aesthetically appealing to new homeowners who may not want the copper hoods. But the guidelines still require the shielded light bulb fixtures. That whole baffle ratio is still the same. And those are based on conservancy requirements.
So my question was, can you guys, there's a lot to be covered, there's a lot of prep work.
I'm gonna remind everybody to please mute your computers because we can hear other things going on in offices. Okay, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and just pull up some data for you that you might be real interested in. And I appreciate that sometimes it's really tough to get things in by deadlines. Just know that we're trying to be helpful, accommodate everyone. We had a total number of submittals in 2023 of 381 submittals. And let's see, 45 of them were new constructions in A and B. Kim had another 7 in the Harbor and Middle Island new construction. So that's 52 new constructions out of those 381 total submittals that we have to process, basically on 2-week deadlines for meetings. So it's a really quick turnover. We can't take stuff late. We can't take material that comes in piecemeal because then we have to back up and start the intake process over again. 41% of the drafts, by the way, were in the fourth quarter of 2023. That indicates a huge number of approvals and new construction activity out there for 2024. So we appreciate all the hard work you guys are going to be doing coming up here. So we're available. Email us, call us, and we'll try and keep your application process just as smooth as possible. But we do have to stay on tight deadlines and keep everything moving on time. So the activity sheets, just so that you know, in addition to doing all the technical reviews and processing all those applications, these are just Chris's numbers. So she's working with basically 175 to well over 200 walk-ins, calls, emails. So we will get back to you as soon as we can. Don't give up on us. Keep trying to reach us, and we appreciate you. Anybody have questions? Can you unmute them?
Yeah, so if you have a question, you can unmute yourselves. One thing I want to just say real quick is to help us to respond to you the quickest way for us to know where to find your emails is by making sure that you have the property address in the subject line, either the property address or the lot number, because immediately, as soon as if I'm looking something up, I need at least one of those in order to be able to pull the file, check the electronic file, check the physical file, because that normally is what I do. I usually cross-reference. So anytime that you're emailing anybody at BHA, honestly, anybody at BHI, it's very helpful if you put that address in the subject line. Oh, another thing I want to let you know is, and I know pretty much everybody's very familiar with this, but overnight deliveries to Bald Head Island don't exist. Overnight usually means 2 to 3 days. So just keep that in mind. To be quite honest with you, US Post Office is the quickest way to get things to us because the post office delivers to the post office. Whereas when something has to be signed for, it's signed for on the other side of the island, then it's got to come over here. And then they've got to look at the address and find out which PO box it goes to, because everything here is done with PO boxes. You cannot mail to a physical address here on the island.
Okay, anybody want to unmute and ask questions? We thank you all very much for coming. This meeting's been recorded, folks, so we're going to get a copy of this recording up on the website. And for anybody you know who asks about this meeting. If they missed it, want to hear it, tell them to go to the website, ARC review page, and we can go ahead and let them listen right there. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Why are they still there?
Because they're hanging out as